everybody's super negative right now. Everybody is super negative right now, and I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna be well. First, I'm gonna be negative, then I'm gonna be positive.
Sure.
I had an epiphany on the CMC trade.
Mhm.
So the reason I hated that trade was because it took away from the future of Trey Lance. It was another piece that didn't really fit with what they wanted to do with him, with his window as far as how old he is and when he's going to progress. And then I realized I have no faith that Kyle Shanahan is ever going to get anything out of a quarterback that he develops. No faith at all. Right?
So just get running backs.
So get something because it's going downhill. What we're seeing is
you know what they should get. You know what they should get? Head coach.
Right, because they have no answer at quarterback, they have no answer at offensive line, and they have nothing in the cupboard to address those needs in the offseason for the next 2 years.
Because if there's one thing that Christian McCaffrey proved in Carolina, is that he can single-handedly overcome poor quarterback play and poor head coaching. He's done it. They've won a lot of games.
So, yeah. You're good with the snark, Grant. I got to tell you.
I'm sorry.
One of my favorite things about you. But so here's the thing, though. This year, they still have the semblance of a team. They don't have to sell off the pieces yet. They're going to lose Jimmy Ward. They're going to lose a lot of pieces on defense. They're going to not be able to add the pieces they need on offense. All of their pieces, their yak pieces, are all getting older and more injury prone. The window is just slamming shut. So, I mean, it's gonna be bleak unless we get somebody in here who can reform this team around Trey Lance. And since we've established that Kyle isn't that guy, let's go. Let's go all in. I want to see him make another move. Let's bring in a
Go get Tom Brady. Go get Tom Brady. Go get Tom Brady. Go get Tom Brady. I'm telling you, I think that's going to happen. They're going to lose to the Rams. The sky's going to be falling, and then John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to trade for Tom Brady on Tuesday.
I'll tell you what, though. This team, it's going to get healthier. It's going to get DeMeco Ryan.
Are you sure, though?
DeMeco Ryan.
3 players come back and 3 players go out every week.
But DeMeco Ryans is a serious player in this league. He's not going away.
Okay.
You know? Okay. And so when you got a guy like that on the defensive side who's young and hungry and has a future to think about, he's not going to put an embarrassing defense out there like you saw against Kansas City. That's not happening again.
Okay.
Right? So you look at it and you go, okay, well, if they tread water and they go 3-3 and they're 6-7 and the division is down, and then they find a formula that works on offense where they can play ball control and avoid turnovers, they can win the last 4 games of the season and go into the playoffs on a roll. Because those last 4 games are, you know, they're not exactly.
Is that Mike McDaniel isn't walking back through that door.
Okay.
He was their chief game planner. He would spend all of his time game planning. Now they don't have anyone doing that.
But do you really think Mike Shanahan's just going to sit there and let Kyle fall? You think that there's
Hey man, I think Mike's already doing everything he can. Why do you think these scripts are so good?
No, the scripts are fantastic, and I'm saying
Mike McDaniel was in the booth. He could say, "This is what I'm seeing. This is what we can do." Mike is at home. He can't contact Kyle mid-game. Maybe he does. You think he does? Think he texts him? I don't think so.
I think he's watching every moment of the game, and
of course he is. Of course he is.
I think he's worried. I think that if you're around Kyle and you know the type of person Kyle is, I think you would have to be worried about the future of Kyle as a head coach in this league. It's kind of, you talk about there's a bunch of players that are at a crossroads on the 49ers, Mike McGlinchey, Javon Kinlaw, a bunch of players who, you know, Jimmy Ward, crossroad players that either have a future or don't in this league. Kyle Shanahan's at the same crossroad.
I feel like from Kyle's perspective, he should want to leave, man. It's not going to happen for him here.
It's
not a great organization. Jed isn't helping him. It feels like a lot of the players are starting to tune him out. He could do better elsewhere. And if he gets fired or traded, I mean, a lot of teams would want him. If I were him, I'd want to leave. But I mean, he messed up the quarterback position so bad.
As a 49er fan, what do I root for this year? Do I root for a total demolition of my team and 5 years of misery? Or do I root for the final thing that we can get, which is a coalescing of a miracle team that pulls it out of nowhere. And there is an opportunity for that. When you're talking about the type of talent that the 49ers have, Jason Verrett on his own is a premier corner in this league. If he comes back the way that he could come back, they could still have a premier defense when they get to the playoffs. There's an opportunity to root for something other than just despair, because guess what? Next year, there'll be plenty time for despair. There's going to be so much time for despair over the next couple of years.
Josh, it doesn't matter what you root for, man. This is either a slow train wreck or it's not. Nothing we can do about it. This is 100% on Jed and Kyle. And what you want it to be or what you hope it is doesn't matter. So I'm just sitting back and analyzing.
Okay, one last thing before I go. I don't think that replacing Kyle Shanahan with another coach, with the way that this team is formulated, is going to solve the problem that Trey Lance doesn't fit the offense that they built around him. I don't think that you're going to bring in another coach and suddenly that your 5-yard yak specialists are suddenly going to be running free down the field, taking 30-yard passes. I think that if Kyle fails here, this is a team that needs to blow up. It's a team that's old.
I disagree with that.
Injury prone.
I disagree with that. No, I disagree with that. No, you got a lot of young guys too, man. I would, to me, this is a team that's underachieving, and you had a coach like Pete Carroll or Jim Harbaugh, they'd be winning. Jim Harbaugh would know what to do with Trey Lance. No question about it. It reminds me a lot of the end of the Jim Harbaugh era team that should have been allowed to blow up so that Jim Harbaugh could rebuild it. But instead they ushered Jim Harbaugh out the door because he could only make that team 8-8. I think that if you want to have a good franchise, you have to have people that are willing to do the rebuild every 5 years, because you can't have 28-year-old $12 million running backs on your squad. And I don't like the rebuild, because the rebuild means Jed's in charge of it, and Jed's going to hire some coach who's never been a coach before, and it's going to be another 6-year experiment, and we're going to learn 3 years in that it wasn't the right call, and he's going to wait 7 years before he does anything about it, just like now. Like, no, stop trying to be a genius. Just admit you were wrong about Jim Harbaugh, call him up, apologize, and give him whatever it takes. But he won't.
Jim Harbaugh,
I got to take more calls, man. I got to take more calls.
I disagree with you, Grant, but I always love you. Have a good one.